Hello, my name is Brian Ward. Welcome to episode 1 of Black History Throughout Little Rock. Today we travel to the Mosaic Temple to check out some of the historic artifacts and everything that been brought there. I talked to Courtney Bradford, one of the curators at the Mosaic Temple, asked her some questions. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Well, our museum itself, the original structure was once the international headquarters for the Mosaic Templars of America, which was an organization founded in 1883 to provide burial and life insurance to African Americans. The museum is located in what once was a booming black business district here on 9th Street. We were the anchor to the east end of the business district, with Saborian Hall being the anchor on the west end of the district. This space that we stand in is very historic. This is no longer the original structure. The original structure burned in 2005, but this structure here was built in 2008 when we opened. This year we celebrate 17 years of the Mosaic Templars Cultural Center.
17?
So we have two main founders of the Templars, the organization itself, the Mosaic Templars, which is actually behind you. We have the two pictures of Mr. Bush and Mr. Keats. They founded the Mosaic Templars of America. Now, the Mosaic Templars Building Preservation Society saw a need to preserve this structure because of the historical significance about it. They formed that organization. They worked really, really hard to bring about advocacy for the building. And from there, you see the state of Arkansas stepping in and taking ownership of this building. The museum itself is actually was created through legislation. We're the only legislated museum and also the only state-funded African American history museum in Arkansas.
Wow. I didn't know y'all was state funded.
Yes, we're state funded, and it's a legislation, so we are here. I said we are here to stay because there is legislation that established this museum. Now, a number I do not have. I would say, as far as artifacts, we do have over 30,000 artifacts that include the 2D artifacts, paper documents, fine art, as well as artifacts such as magazines and badges, typewriters, anything that you kind of think of that someone would come across in their life. These are things that we have within our collection. The stories that we have within our museum are endless. They're numerous. You see stories on the walls. You also see within our archival collection that we have lots of files and information on people not only here in Central Arkansas, but across the entire state of Arkansas as well. Within our new permanent exhibition space, there are 6 galleries here. This first gallery, we call this Success, where we discuss not only the Mosaic Templars of America, but we also talk about black business districts and education. So right now we're standing in our education section. And then from there, we're talking about black legislators. The next exhibition, we call this Community, and you're learning about what does it mean to be a professional, as well as the history of religious institutions and our 4 HBCUs that are here in Arkansas. From that section, you're going into what I like to call the confluence, and that combines all sections within this permanent exhibition space, and visitors are able to utilize our kiosks to focus more on the geography and the people and the migration of people from the state of Arkansas. From there, they're going into survival and oppression, and they're learning about the Interstate 630, how it ripped through the black business district, as well as prison systems and the fight for equal pay in the Little Rock School District. Outside of survival and oppression, we have culture, and we're focusing on Arkansas's black authors and artists, community sports. We also have a barbershop area, very similar to the one we had before, but we get to sit down in this one and actually hear the sounds of the beauty in the barbershop and learn more about that aspect of African American culture. Also within that, we have music, and there's a radio dial where you're able to turn the radio dial and listen to sounds from Arkansas. Quite some that you might know, like Smokey Norfolk, that are from Arkansas, but a few that you might not be aware they're from Arkansas, like Lenny Williams or Rosetta Hart. From there, we're entering into people, and now we're discussing, who controls our identity. We have an opportunity to interact with civil rights activist Andrew Young in an AI format. You're able to ask him questions, and he's able to answer those questions back to you as well. And from there, you're also learning about Black Plus. What does it mean to be black? And understanding as black people, we are not monolithic, and we are all very unique as well. And that includes our permanent exhibition space, but of course we always have a traveling exhibit in our changing gallery. And right now what we have is It's Written in the Stars by Crystal C. Mercer Watson, and it utilizes quilts and textiles to tell the story of African Americans' journey from Africa to America, to the transatlantic trade.
All right.
You ready to walk?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's walk. So the first thing, just because of where we're coming across, this is from the Civil Rights Movement. And it's standing here next to Daisy Bates because she was involved in the March on Washington. She was, from my understanding, one of the only representatives from Arkansas to speak at the March on Washington. And if you look here, you'll see where she is on the program.
I'm about to zoom in a little bit closer so I can see her name.
There she is. She was on the program and was able to speak at the March on Washington in 1963. So this is the Civil Rights Movement. This was donated by James and Kim Townsend. And from my understanding, his mother attended the March on Washington in 1963, and she held on to all of these artifacts and placed them in this shadow box. And we have them here on display. Now, the Civil War. We have a few artifacts related to the Civil War. This is actually the discharge papers of a private that served in the colored troops during the Civil War. And what's really neat is that I found this artifact in a donation from a funeral home.
Really?
Yes, a funeral home here in Little Rock. And even I was like, wow, what is this? But you know, a lot of times when people pass away and you're just giving a lot of documentation to the funeral home. And I'm assuming this was just some of the documentation that people had wrapped up. But these are his discharge papers. I will say that these are reissued discharge papers. It has a date of 1880. So when he came out of the military, which is in 1866 when he was discharged, he had the certificate reissued. And I could only assume it was because he needed to get his benefits from being in the war.
So basically, well, you have something that is from all the way back from during the Civil War era and the Reconstruction era, if you will.
Yeah, so this is Reconstruction. I do have a muster roll that's now on display. And so basically when a gentleman was signed up to go into a troop, they would have to muster in, they'll sign a document, and so we do have that one, and that is the 1863 document. So right before the war ended, they were mustering in more people. If there ever came a time or opportunity, if there was a certain exhibition, if there are different, let's say we're doing something that involved or surrounded the Civil War, that'll be a great opportunity to bring out those artifacts. Our mission is to preserve, interpret, and to collect African American history and culture in Arkansas.
No.
Yes, I'll say yes. Off the top of my head, it is a propaganda letter, and it features Daisy Bates. And so this is something that I believe the Citizens Council would have sent out to members of the Citizens Council with her mugshot on it, and actually listing her charges as well, and saying, really trying to make it seem like she's like this really bad woman. But I do have the artifact upstairs in my office, and to me, it's more representative of she's in good trouble. Like John Lewis would say, this is a poster or a letter that is good trouble. Most people would think, oh, that's bad, that's terrible. They're talking about her, but I'm like, that's good trouble she's in.
Thank you for watching episode 1 of Black History in Little Rock. Please join us next time for our next journey, when we head to the old State House. Thank you.